So, Hana, I'm currently teaching English as a second language, I love for my students to get confident in producing English or increasing their listening ability.
Yes.
So, I know that you speak English as a second language, but you do such an amazing job, and it's inspiring to me. So, love my students to improve and so because you're a perfect example, what are some strategies you have for my students I could tell them?
Right. Firstly, I worked on listening, and there's so many websites that are designed for English learners.
Right.
Like Elo here, you are listening to.
Yeah.
And YouTube or any, so many sites that you can check on, and like that. I'll probably start with the listening first.
Okay. So you said firstly listening. So why is listening so important?
It's because when you want to communicate, of course, the English as a tool, communication tool, you have to understand what the speakers say. So first I worked on listening, and then by listening at the audio or the sound, then you can learn vocab and also spelling, and the meaning, of course. And eventually you can move on to next English skill. So that's why I start working on listening first.
So what about anything else that you have? Any other strategies?
Personally, I found it learning vocab, and especially idioms, helped me a lot.
Yeah, idioms are tough.
Yes, because often I found it difficult to understand what the speakers say. I could hear or I could understand what the single words they say, but sometimes it was hard to sort of grasp the meaning, what they're actually saying. So learning idioms or vocab helped me a lot. Yeah.
So when you learn the idioms and you can understand them, did you ever use them yourself? When you tried it out in the wild, so to speak, using the idioms you learned to
Yes, I did it gradually. I mean, when I was in high school, I started studying English when I was high school. First thing I did was to visiting those websites that are designed for English speakers, English learners, and at the same time I start watching American TV dramas, and in that sense, you can sort of understand in what situation you can use those particular phrases or idioms, and by learning the idioms and vocab and the settings or the environment, the situation you can use, then you can sort of actually try to use them. At the same, the beginning I was so nervous.
Right. I'm sure, yeah. I mean, it's really difficult to use idioms in any language, but English has so many, I think. So another thing I wanted to ask you about production skills in English is writing. So I try to give my students opportunities to write in class, but in order to be a proficient and excellent English speaker, you need to practice outside of class. So what do you recommend to improve students' writing abilities besides just taking it for a test or for an assignment? What do you recommend?
Yes, this is very difficult. I myself have trouble still writing because I'm not a good writer in my native language.
Oh no.
But I guess just reading will help you at the start. Reading text.
Okay, so if you know how to read, you can help you write.
Yes, definitely. To learn sort of the templates, how the things goes, and how you make paragraph and stuff. So probably if you want to get better at writing, I would start reading first. Reading lots of passages, different kinds of materials first.
So so that's true, and I agree with that. And so one thing I wanted to have my students do is actually do a journal, actually.
Yes,
so did you ever keep an English journal to help with your writing?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
How do you feel that helped you? Was that good? A good
yes,
idea?
Because first when you write, unlike speaking or talking to somebody, it gives you time to really think about what you want to do, what you want to write, and you can focus on grammar more, and that helps you to actually talk to somebody maybe a day write next day, or you have to write something else in the class that would help you. So keeping the journal will help you definitely, I think.
Okay, thank you very much for the tips. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, Hana, you just told me that one way to help with listening and practicing and understanding idioms is through American television dramas, right? So TV shows, yeah. So while you were learning English, what are some shows you watched? Something I want to tell my students they can watch.
My favorite all time is the TV drama called Friends.
Oh, yeah,
Have you seen it before?
Friends is super popular in the U.S. Yeah,
it is. Yes, I just love. I mean, first of all, I just love the story.
Okay.
Other than just learning English is kind of second purpose. Yes. So, there was a Italian. Or there's a character who's Playboy. And he used to say, like, how you doing, yeah?
Right.
And it's interesting is, first I watched the drama with my first language subtitled.
Right. Okay, so you're watching in English with your language in the subtitles?
Yes.
Okay.
So that I can understand the sort of the concept first.
Right.
And then gradually I changed to English subtitles. But,
okay. That's a great idea. So first, to understand the meaning of what's being said, subtitles.
Yep.
Then to maybe watch it again a second time or even a third time to understand exactly how the English is used in context of the show.
True, yeah.
That's a great strategy. So
in that way, you can enjoy just watching the movies or dramas, and that way you can spend a lot more time rather than just, try to study English.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's more a way to enjoy learning English and studying. So actually, you said Friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think Friends is on. It's so popular, right? It's all over the internet. I believe it's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube and Netflix.
Yeah,
Netflix. So one thing that's great about YouTube, I think, is that they have a closed captioning or a subtitling option. So if you can't exactly catch what they're saying while you're listening the first time, you can put the subtitles on, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And there are so many websites that shows all the transcripts of
That's true. You can read the scripts from the show to help with to follow along as well. That's great. So you said you watch Friends, right?
I do.
Are there any others that you've heard of? So Friends, I know is popular. Many people know Friends.
Full House.
Full House. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. They recently did a revamp,
like
a newer version of it.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's good.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
But you recommend either Friends or Full House?
There's one of my friends. He liked a drama called Prison Break.
Oh, that's on Netflix as well. Yeah, I have.
And he watched like 60 hours or more than that. And I asked him, it's like, how's it going? And it's good. He could understand without subtitles, and which is good. And so I asked him, it's like, so you can speak English now? Yeah? Can you use those phrases from the drama? And he said, actually not. But I said, why? It's because the words that they use from the drama, there's like bombing or escaping or something that's not daily life conversation. So that way, Friends or Full House, that people
that's
in
daily
life,
English. Daily life English. Okay, so you recommend?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I think my students would love to watch that kind of drama and learn daily phrases you can use. Thanks so much for the tips. Thanks, Hana.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's talk about movies.
Okay.
What kind of movie do you like?
Well, my favorite genres are actually, let's see, science fiction, sci-fi, and horror.
Horror?
Yeah.
What was the last movie you watched? Do you remember?
The last movie I watched was a science fiction. It was called The Shape of Water.
Okay. Never heard, never seen. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you a little about it if you want to hear.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so it's actually a love story about a janitor and a merman.
Okay.
A merman,
yeah. Mermaid, yeah.
Merman. So it's actually, I don't want to give away too much of the story, but so this janitor is working at this kind of like this underground government facility, and she cleans the floors next to this giant fish tank. And she never knows actually what's inside, but one day, this merman comes up to the glass, and she sees him, and she instantly falls in love. But the beautiful part is that he can't speak. He can't speak English, right? But the beautiful part is she's actually deaf, and she can't hear.
Right.
So this like beautiful, amazing relationship kind of blossoms from them. She teaches him sign language, and it's unbelievable.
It's like a modern version of Romeo and Juliet, yeah? Kinda.
Maybe. I mean, it's not like they weren't star-crossed lovers per se.
Okay.
No, it's definitely an interesting love story. That's the last movie I saw recently.
And what about horror movies?
I actually like this movie called It. It's based on a book written by this horror author, Stephen King. Maybe you've heard of Stephen King.
Yes,
he's a super famous author, right?
Mm.
This is actually a story about like it's kind of a sci-fi horror mix. So it's like, of course, it's one of my favorites. It's about this like alien that comes to this town and takes a form as a clown, an evil clown, every 65 years.
Yes.
And because he wakes up from his deep sleep and he's hungry because he needs to eat. So he takes his form as a clown and like kind of terrorizes this town every 65 years. So the movie takes place in the I think it's the 1970s.
Okay.
And so that's the time when the monster wakes up. This like kind of group of kids starts figuring it out, what's happening in our town, and it's kind of a coming of age tale in a horror movie.
Right.
I don't know, it's really interesting. I hope I didn't ruin it. I'm not going to tell you the ending, of course.
Okay.
But,
I'm not a big fan of horror movies. It makes me kind of, not to go to toilet or not to go to
All right. Hey, let's talk about some like celebrities you like or someone you know.
Oh,
So,
yeah. My favorite singer is Taylor Swift.
Really? Okay. Wow. Why do you like Taylor Swift?
I like her songs, but mainly I like her look. That red lips and white skin and blonde hair. It's kind of typical American
Albino.
woman. Yeah. So when I saw her for the first time, I was like, wow, she's gorgeous. That's
Wait,
what I
do you
thought.
mean you saw her picture on the internet in the news, or you saw her in concert?
No, I think it was on YouTube. Again,
Oh,
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
She was at that time. She was still singing like country music, but I thought she's amazing.
I have an interesting fact about her, actually.
What?
So apparently, she's from right outside of my hometown.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah, that's where she was born, and then she went, was doing music around there first.
Yeah?
And then she got kind of big somehow. I don't know how, but I'm not really interested in her.
Okay.
She's cute, but like I don't really like her music. But yeah, that's where she got started, somewhere by my hometown.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, the typical woman figure, girly style and nice skin, and her movement and her songs is like the girl or
That's
the
true.
American girl. So yeah, that's why I like her. How about you?
I have a lot of bands that I like, but I recently saw this movie that I really liked. Do you know the actor Edward Norton?
No.
No?
What's...
He's getting really popular. He's been popular for a while. He does all different types of movies, like crime dramas, like action thrillers, science fiction. He's very, how would you say, he can do many different types of roles.
Right.
So I recently saw, it's an old movie of his, but it's called Fight Club. It's him and Brad Pitt. Have you heard of it?
Maybe.
Fight Club? Yeah.
I think I've seen it. I don't really remember.
It's old. It's from like it's like 1998, 1999, but it's still a really good film. I think. But yeah, I think if I was to talk about a celebrity that I liked, definitely Edward Norton. He's pretty, I don't know, his acting is really good, I think.
Okay. Is he English or is he American? Or is he from?
He's from the U.S., yeah, he's American for sure. Yeah, what about you? Do you have any actors or actresses you like?
Yes. My favorite actor is. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name. You
Oh,
know the
maybe I
guy
can help you.
from Notting Hill, the
Oh my
guy from
God.
the Love Actually,
Oh, he's that British guy.
the British guy with the the eyes
Um,
kind of.
Hugh
Hugh Grant.
Grant.
Yes, that's the guy. Yeah, I like him.
Why? Can I ask? I mean, he's kind of like a romantic comedy star, but why do you like
Yeah,
his acting?
I don't know. He looks sweet.
Okay, so he
Unlike
looks nice.
unlike Brad Pitt or other male celebrities, he's
Okay.
not like super handsome. He looks kind of ordinary guy, and kind of makes me feel like nice. And
Okay.
the closer, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, yeah. That's true. I don't think I've ever
Have
seen
you
a
ever
movie
seen?
with him in it.
No.
No, I'm just not like I mean, you said he's in Love Actually. He's like a romantic comedy guy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Romantic comedies.
romantic
Oh,
comedies.
really? What's your
Yeah.
favorite romantic comedy?
I can't think of anything now. Probably romantic. Yeah, Love Actually.
Okay.
Okay, I can't think of anything
Oh,
now.
no
But
problem.
how about you?
How about me? What?
Do you like romantic comedies?
No. Not really. But there is
Yeah.
one that I do like. It's called My Best Friend's Wedding. I
Okay.
believe Julia Roberts is in that one.
Yeah.
Do you know who she is?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
is
yeah.
famous. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a 90s classic romantic comedy, I think. Have you seen it?
I think I have.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, I think so.
So, Ruofei, you are from China, and in America, Chinese students have a reputation of being very hardworking. Is that true?
Yes, exactly. In my high school, uh, in one class we have around 70 students in one class, and everybody wants to be the top students. So everybody works so hard, and I'd say my high school was kind of like a prison. You have to go to school every day from 6:35 a.m. to 9:40 p.m.
Really? That long?
Yes,
That's over 12 hours. That's like 13, 14 hours a day.
yes, exactly.
Whoa. How did you feel as a student studying that much?
Sleepy.
I bet.
Every day I'm so sleepy.
I can imagine. Do you think it was productive studying that much?
I think their purpose just let us to stay as much time as we can in the school, and we cannot get distracted by other stuff. So we always stay at school and we always focus on our studying. And yeah, we kind of cannot know anything about the outside of the wall from school.
That's amazing. So, for such a long day, can you talk about the daily schedule? What was your schedule like every day?
From 6:50 we start to have class from 6:50 until maybe 11:45. Yeah, we have 45 minutes class and then 10 minutes break. And we also have 30 minutes we have to do exercise on the playground. And in the afternoon is the same routine. And then we went to dinner around 6 to 7, and from 7 to 9:40 we have to do our homework.
Oh, so you study at school. So it's not homework, it's schoolwork. You don't actually go home, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So how many classes would you have every day?
Classes, 8 classes.
Okay. And what were the subjects?
We separate the subject. If you learn more mathematics, we learn mathematics, English, and Chinese, and physics, chemistry, and biology.
That's very rigorous. Did you enjoy all the subjects?
Yeah, I love physics and biology and chemistry.
And now you are training to be a doctor.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Did you know you wanted to be a doctor when you were in high school?
I kind of know because my father is a doctor,
Okay.
and he was kind of forcing me to study medicine.
Oh, nice. So we have a phrase in English. We say, follow in your father's footsteps.
Uh-huh.
So you definitely are following in your father's
Yeah.
footsteps. Oh, that's great. Is your mother a doctor?
My mother is a businesswoman now.
Okay. Oh, great. So you had all these courses. Now, in America, there's a big controversy about tests, that kids take too many tests. It's too test-driven. What about in China? Do you have a lot of tests?
Yeah, I have tests every month, and they will make a list of every single person, how much score you got in this test.
So they rank everybody to see.
Yes.
That's very competitive.
Yeah, I think that's kind of bad for our emotion.
Yeah, so it creates a lot of stress.
Yeah. We have 2,000 students in one grade.
That is crazy. And so you can be number 2,000, you can be the lowest student?
Yes.
And they put that out there?
Yes.
Really? Oh my, they can never do that in America.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh. Do you think that's a good idea?
Depends on the person.
Right, yeah. Wow. So you have a lot of pressure. Did you feel pressure from your parents, from your peers, from your teachers?
Yeah.
Like, who gave you the most pressure?
Myself.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to be worse. So I have to always work hard to chasing other people. Everybody wants to be the best. So everybody work really, really hard. Even we have breaking time, they don't break at all.
Seriously?
Yes.
What do they do during the break?
They do questions.
Wow. They quiz each other. The students quiz each other, or they just do homework?
They do their homework, and they find out what problem they've had, and they solve the problem with teachers or other students. They just starting all day. They can do that.
That's amazing. And kids do this like 14, 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really good for China.
And we don't have that much summer vacation and winter vacation. In winter vacation, we have 2 weeks because of the Chinese New Year. It's about 2-week stuff. So we have 2 weeks in winter vacation and 1 week summer vacation only.
Is that enough?
Of course not. And even we have vacation, the teacher would give us a lot of homework to do.
That is very impressive.
This is very not good experience.
Wow. Well, actually, okay, we'll talk about that in the next interview. I think that's a very interesting point. So, Ruofei, you said that your education system is very strict, and you study like 15 hours a day.
Yes.
Okay, so if you were in charge, would you keep the system the same way?
It depends on the person. I think there should be a place that as strict as my high school, and you can choose to send your children to go there, or if the students themselves they want to go to that school, they can go. I think that's really, really motivative to students to study hard because everybody do the same and they are trying their best to be the best.
Wow. Yeah, we have a phrase in English like a rising tide lifts all boats, and I think it's kind of the same, right? So if it's really rigorous for most people, it's going to pull everybody up.
Yes.
Okay. There's nothing you would change? Like if you were in charge, like would you give maybe a little more vacation time? Would you start the day later? Would you make classes smaller?
If I can choose, I would definitely don't choose my school because that was horrible for me because I need a lot of sleep than normal people, but I cannot have that much time to sleep. So I
right.
always sleep on the class, and when somebody found out that I'm sleeping on the class, they will decrease the score of my class.
Oh, that's serious.
Yes, very serious, and your teacher would punish you to write a paper like I'm sorry I decreased the score of our class. I shouldn't sleep on the class, and I have to write it for like 1 hour to write that stuff.
That is very harsh.
Yeah.
I think, though, a lot of people, when they hear stories like that, they actually are a little bit envious, especially parents or teachers, because in the rest of the world, it's not that students don't try that hard.
Yeah.
So that's kind of special, actually.
Yeah, I think that's the special point of China.
Wow. So what time did you have to get up every day to get to school at 6:45 or?
I have to get up at 6.
Oh, well, that was not too bad. That's pretty fast. You wake up at 6, you get
Yeah.
to school by 6:45.
Yeah, I can like wear my clothes pretty fast and directly get on my father's car and eat on my father's car and put my socks on my father's car.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's talk about streamlined, very mobile. That's great. Okay, so what about the tests? So it's really controversial, like in the U.S., about standardized tests rather than just learning. The students often have to prepare for tests.
Yeah.
In your country, is there also a big movement just to have a lot of testing?
We have tests each month, and we only do paper test. And the questions can be really difficult. Yeah, always very, very difficult. In my case, I'm the like a middle, in the middle.
Middle of the pack, as we say.
The middle of the pack. And for mathematics, we have totally 150 scores, and probably I can get 60 to 70.
Wow, that's a big range of. I mean, do some students get 100%?
No.
No?
If you get more than 120, you are really brilliant. So the questions always really, really difficult.
Can the teacher get 150?
I'm not sure.
Well, I have to admit, because even like English teachers will tell you, and they're lying if they don't admit this, even on tests like the TOEFL, it's very hard for a teacher to get 100%. Just not because of knowledge, but because of concentration.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. We have a lot of questions, and some of them, they are kind of tricky.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they mislead you a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's great. So you took all these courses. What was the course you were best at and the course you were worst at?
English was my worst at.
Oh, no, your English is wonderful. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
It was.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, how do you learn English in China?
Actually, my speaking skills, I get it from my traveling. I did solo traveling last year.
Wow, you've learned a lot quickly.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. That's really inspirational, I think, for a lot of the students that listen to this site. 1 year.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But the thing I have to mention about it is you have to know a lot of words. Before you start speaking English, you have to know what you know. Like you have to remember a lot of words, and then you can use it when you have to use it.
Okay, right. So English was tough, not easy.
Not easy. For everything you have to learn. Learning isn't easy and funny stuff. For everyone, starting is hard, and it's kind of betray the human
Spirit?
Yes.
So, wow, that's crazy. So how many students would be in an English class? I hear that China has huge English classes. Like there might be 100 students in one class.
It can be. But it depends. In my high school, we have the same class at the same classroom, always. And in my university, we have 30 students in my English class.
Oh, that's good. That's kind of normal. That's still a lot for an English teacher. That's a lot. But was your teacher usually Chinese or an international teacher?
Chinese teacher.
Chinese teacher. Okay. And so there was a big stress on grammar and vocabulary, things like that?
Yes.
How about listening?
We only do the audio listening test.
Okay.
So it's always the same pronunciation, like
Yeah, so you don't have a lot of variety of accents or
Yes.
different way. Yeah. Okay. We have to introduce Ello to China. The
yeah,
website.
yeah, cool.
So what was your best subject?
My best subject was mathematics.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's impressive. I have a degree in economics, and there's a lot of math, and I went to a good school, but I was not strong at math, and I was terrible at physics. And so physics and economics are kind of related, but not really. I did not do very well in physics. So how are you at physics?
I love all the math stuff. Also included physics because you also have to use a lot of mathematics on your physics. And for the physics, you have to know the formula very well, then you can use it. If you don't know the formula very well, you cannot. When the question is there, you cannot apply that.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I agree. It's tough. I'm very impressed with you because whenever I meet somebody who's good at math or physics, I have great admiration because my degree was math heavy, but math was not my strong point.
So what was your strong point?
That's a good question. I was never a good student in anything. I went to how I got to a good university is actually surprising, but I was always middle of the road, middle of the pack, as we said. Always B- student in everything.
I see.
Yeah, I was not exceptional like you.
You don't have to be very good at starting, but you can handle your life very easily. That's also an important thing for a human.
That is true. I do agree with that. But I think if I was a student in China, I would be that Mr. 2000. Okay. So I'm here with Angela, and she is a writer and a traveler, a teacher, a businesswoman, and you're also a mother.
Yes. I
And
have twins.
You have twins. That's amazing. Wow. And so you also are now what's called an empty nester. Can you explain what that means?
It's the feeling that you get when you realise that you've worked hard with your kids all those years and now they're ready to leave. And because they're twins, the nest is going to be emptied completely at once.
Yeah.
And I would be in the house by myself. I did think, though, that my son would have stayed home forever. So I would never have got to a position of having an empty nest. And my daughter, she left a little bit earlier. But it was just the thought of, you're in a house that your family's grown up in. What do you do now? Do you take in lodgers? Do you rent the house out? And that's when I made my decision to travel. And it was a gap that I spotted because my kids were 18 at the time. It was likely that my daughter would have grandchildren at some point, or I would have grandchildren, she'd have children, and then it would not be possible to come away again. So I saw the gap. I rented the house out, and my son, who was the last to leave the house, he said, "Mum, are you renting my room as well?" And I said, "Well, of course I'm renting your room. You don't get a house with a teenager resident in it." And he was absolutely flummoxed, but he found somewhere to live. He's working. She's found somewhere to live. She's working. And I think that one of the things you can give your kids actually is independence. I think it's the biggest thing that you can give them.
Yeah, and back in the day, it used to be that you would get kicked out of the nest. That was another phrase, You'd say like,
Yes.
okay, when you're 18, your parents would, give you that push like a mother bird, go fly, go do your thing. And I think it's still a good thing, actually,
I think it's a very good thing. Yeah.
that you go out, I was not really kicked out, but I did leave right away, and it was a good experience.
It was the best experience. That those years when you've got freedom, you've got your friends, you're growing up, you're learning about the world. You should be out there by yourself.
Now, you've done something against the grain. You went and traveled by yourself, and your gap year. Now, in Asia, where we are, this isn't really an empty nester culture. Like, I don't know if especially Thailand, they don't really push kids out of the house. People stay and live a little bit more. Have you noticed a difference in like kind of the family dynamics now that you're in Bangkok?
I think in Bangkok and Thailand, and certainly the other Southeast Asian countries I've travelled, I've been amazed at how families operate and live together. I think I'm very saddened by my own circumstances in the UK, and lots of people in the UK where families are divided and they don't live together and they don't support each other. When I was living in Isan, it was very obvious that families, because there's no social services, people have to work or they've got no money. So the parents would have to go to Bangkok or Phuket or one of the tourist areas, and the children would be left with the grandparents in the village. So it was obvious that there were lots of children who were growing up with grandparents, aunties. But I looked at this and thought, well, these kids are living in a village where it's safe, they're happy, they grow up as a gang, and they're loved.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's interesting you mentioned that. One of the saddest things I ever saw unexpectedly was when I was in the Philippines. I was flying out. I was in the Philippines, had a great time. And when I was going at the airport, they had this long line. And I didn't know what was going on. It was all these children and their mothers. I mean, we're talking dozens. And it seemed strange. And then it hit me, because the Philippines have so many people that work overseas. These were all mothers that were saying goodbye to their children.
Yes.
Because they had to go work overseas. And it's like, I even get choked up now, like thinking about it. It was just really powerful that, like the people that had that situation, that those mothers, they don't want to leave their kid.
Yeah,
That's got to be really hard. But they have to. They have to go to wherever they're going to go in the world. Yeah, that was something. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. And I find families over here are just so willing to share. They share their food, they share their beds, they share their houses in a way that is just so different to what I've experienced in the UK.
That is true. That is true. So I'm here with Angela, and we're talking about families, differences in family culture and structure. And we both have experience with the West. Actually, we're both Westerners, and we also have worked and lived in Thailand. Have you noticed a difference in the flow of money, which I think is quite interesting? So in a lot of Asian cultures, especially Thailand, the flow of money goes from the children up.
Yes.
Whereas in the West, the flow of money goes from the parents down, or the older the family member down.
Yes.
It's a completely different flow, which is quite interesting when you think about it.
Isn't it? Because, a lot of the people that are working in Bangkok and some of the tourist places in Thailand, they send money home. They don't earn money for their own keep and their own life. They actually send money home to the villages to pay for their children, to pay for their mothers. And I think it affects the way that people respect people within the family. There's huge respect for older people in Thailand that I didn't notice in the West. And I think maybe it may be something to do with the fact that they are still giving to their parents.
Yeah, that's so true. I think also the fact that the family is almost like a bank.
Yes.
And they have a pool of wealth that they use together as a unit, which I think is just a great concept.
Yeah.
Although when I say this, I don't kick money up to my mother. But I'm always thinking, I wish my family did this. Our family in the West, we should adopt this practice. Everybody gives 10% to the pool, to the family pool.
Yes.
But I don't know if it would ever work.
I don't know if it will work. No.
So you have kids.
Yes.
How would you feel if suddenly your children started giving you 10% of everything they
Great.
make?
Wouldn't that be wonderful? But it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's just not in our society.
Yeah. But you wouldn't spend it though, right? Like the whole idea is like they just give it to like you would be the guardian. You would be the safekeeper of the money.
Yeah, I'd probably have the money and then put the money away for them.
Right.
Because I think that the pressures in the West are different as well. You know, it's very hard now for people to become house owners. So for my kids, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to get on the property ladder. So if they gave me any money, I would give it back to them as a deposit.
Yeah, although there is one other thing that goes the other way, which is in Japan, I hope I say this right, I think it's called a toshidama. Basically, it's you get money from your relatives. If you're a child or a kid, you get money from your relatives on January 1st. They give you an envelope, and sometimes kids might get $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on New Year's, depending on how wealthy your family is. And I think there's Chinese New Year. Maybe they do something similar. The kids get money. I'm not sure. So there is the other flow where families do give kids money, I think. And also, I remember years ago, when I first came to Thailand, I was talking with a guy, and I said, yeah, one thing that's shocking about kids in Thailand is nobody works. They don't have part-time jobs. Not that many have part-time jobs, although it's changed. I said, in America, you work, and it's a good thing. Like, you build values. And he said, yeah, in Thailand, they can't do that because if a child works, especially for a middle-class family, it's an embarrassment to the family. Like the father can't provide for his children. His children have to work when they should be studying. So it's really interesting, the different dynamics in money across cultures. Like, did your kids work when they were in school? How did you feel about your kids when they were in high school?
My kids had to work for the pocket money. So they would have chores to do and they would get pocket money. They would help with the washing up, sweeping, cleaning, whatever. They always had to earn their pocket money, which thought was really hard.
So did you ever withhold their wages?
Yeah.
You did, really?
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, you didn't do your chores, you don't get the money?
Yeah, having it, yeah.
Really? How often would you have to do that?
More so in the beginning, once they get the idea, if you don't work for your money, you don't get your money. And that's a life lesson, isn't it? If you don't do your work,
great, because I think
get money.
I think a lot of people just assume, even me, like I've never had children, but the parents just spoil the kids, and they don't want to have the hassle, they don't want to have the fight, they just give them the money.
But you look at the difference between the Western kids and the kids out here. You can go on a bus trip with the kids out here. You can go on a 6-hour bus trip. You don't hear a peep out of that kid. They're sat there, the mum's asleep, maybe the kid's asleep as well. If you put Western kids on a bus for 6 hours, you'd have to have a PlayStation or a tablet or something. They'd be crying. You'd have to feed them things. It's a totally different way of acting.
Yeah.
And I miss that. When I came to Asia, I noticed that the kids were happier with less, much less than we have. And it wasn't until I spent the year in Asia and then I went to Australia, landed in Sydney, noticed one thing, that the people were that much bigger, but also the kids were just so spoiled, and the parents were just giving in to them.
So you think that maybe we need to rectify that situation, that we should stop spoiling kids?
Yeah, I do.
Take away the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Just stick them outside, yeah.
You can get strollers today with a place where you can put the kid's tablet.
Yeah. It's
Why
crazy.
can't the kid just look at the world?
Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned that, because before we were talking about potential business ideas, and I have an idea called Camp Boredom. So what happens?
Boredom is good.
Yeah, what happens at Camp Boredom is you send your kid to Camp Boredom. It's like just a camp in the woods or on a farm, and the kids come and they go, "What do we do?" And I go, "I don't know, nothing. Go outside. Just find something to do."
No Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because I grew up no Wi-Fi, no nothing. I grew up on a farm, and I'm really blessed. I had no idea how blessed I was at the time, but I grew up. I spent all my time at my grandfather's farm, and we had nothing to do. I mean, nothing. But we had this farm, so we had everything to do. So the rule was you had to be up for breakfast at 7, and then once you finished breakfast, you had to be out of the house. Like, you could not be in the house. It was almost forbidden to be in the house unless it's raining outside, and you would be outside from sun up to sundown.
Yeah, climbing fences, climbing trees,
Having
sitting on haystacks.
Right, having the best time of your life.
Yeah.
And your imagination is going, and you just, the little things that you would do. Oh, we're going to build a tree for it. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to do that.
We're going to stop the river from flowing.
Right. So that's my idea. I think Camp Boredom. So maybe we have to.
I think boredom is good for kids.
Yeah. How so?
Because it, as you say, if they're always entertained and always fed, then they don't get to learn how to entertain themselves.
Yeah.
If you sit them in a car with nothing for 6 hours,
Right.
get to look out the window.
There was a great thing recently where Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, he has a bit where he talks about how his mother would take him to the bank when he was like a kid, and like a bank or a department store was the ultimate space of boredom. Like there's nothing you can do. Like you're so bored you just want to like flop down on the floor type of thing. But you're right. Like I don't know if kids have that anymore.
No, they don't.
Where they have they hit that wall where there's nothing for them to do.
No.
So do you think that maybe we should limit the devices, the smartphones, all that kids use?
I do think you should, but I think it's too late now. I think, we've passed the point where you can get Wi-Fi, internet. If we took all that off the kids now, what would they do? They'd be bored.
But you can just never give it to them, right?
Yeah, in the first place.
Maybe that's impossible.
It's impossible.
Okay, cool. So I'm here in Bangkok with Jerry, and she is Thai. And Jerry, I thought we would talk about Thai islands.
Of course.
There are some major islands. Can you first talk about the major resort islands in Thailand?
Yes. So as most of you know, Thailand is probably visited because of its islands. So the most well-known ones would be Phuket and Koh Samui, which are both down south in Surat Thani. And yeah, I think those are like the main destinations. They have changed quite a lot since the last 10 years. It's quite developed, so it's an island where, if you really want like a very nice resort and have like a convenient list, like malls everywhere. There's also like international schools, so a lot of people now move to live to Phuket or Koh Samui. It's like a little Bangkok, but by the beach.
Oh, really? Yes. Wow. And Phuket really developed quickly after the terrible tsunami, right? So it's really rebounded, and now it's quite vibrant, correct?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Okay. So both Samui and Phuket are the more traditional, maybe tourist package islands.
Yes.
Are there some smaller islands or less known islands that you would recommend?
Yes, we have a lot of islands in Thailand, but just near Koh Samui, you have Koh Phangan, which is also known for its full moon party. That is, the high season. But Koh Phangan is actually really nice. That, apart from the full moon, if you visit the other less well-known beaches, Hat Rin, which is where the full moon party happens, there's a lot of hidden beaches that is very quiet, very relaxed, and it's still not as developed as Koh Samui, so you still feel that island lifestyle. There's a lot of small businesses, local shops.
Oh, that sounds nice. I actually have not been to Koh Phangan, but I've been to Koh Tao, and that's the diving island, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Yes, of course. So Koh Tao is known for its crystal clear water and corals for diving. So a lot of people go there to get their diving certificate. That's actually the best place to do it. And you can spend 3 days there, do the course, and then the island itself is also, it's quite remote. So there's a few stores, not as much as in Koh Phangan. But yeah, it's nice and quiet. And
that's beautiful. And there's some other ones too, right? So there's Koh Chang. Can you talk about that?
Yes, Koh Chang is closer to Bangkok, so you can drive there. It takes about 5 hours. It's in Trat province. Koh Chang is a big island, and there's some people like it, some people don't, because it's less vibrant, I would say, compared to Koh Samui or Phuket. But there's a lot of big resorts there, and the beach is also really beautiful.
Yeah, I have to confess, it's my favorite island by far. So I first went there 25 years ago, and it was really quiet then. I mean, incredibly quiet. And the movie came out, The Beach, and I remember when I saw that movie, I'm like, oh, that's Koh Chang. There was nothing to do on the island, and so that's It's beautiful. It's a national park, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's another little one near Bangkok called Go Samet,
Right.
correct?
Yes. That's a very popular one, especially for Thais to go during the weekend. It's like a 2 hours drive from Bangkok in Chonburi province. And yeah, all you do is you drive there and then you take a quick boat, about 30 minutes to. It's also a national park, so there's entrance fee, but it's really nice. You have the beaches are smaller, but there's like different beaches, and a recommended activity would be just to rent a bike and then drive around the island. Takes about like half a day, but different. All the beaches have their own unique character, which is nice to see.
Oh, that's so awesome. Actually, when I was there years ago, I don't think they had the road around the island, but I remember it was just amazing, beautiful beaches. Yeah. So there's two more that are quite famous, or one that's very famous, and that's Go Phi. That's way down in the south. And there's also Go Lanta, which is not too far away, I think, as well. So can you talk about those?
Yes. These two I haven't visited. I don't remember visiting them, but I know like a lot of people go there for its clear water, and called Phi. I believe has the well-known like sand in the middle of the ocean that you can walk across one island to the other, and it's known for like taking a boat, and the water is like very clear. And Koh Lanta. Koh Lanta, I think it's also known for the same reason as Koh Phi. For its crystal clear water, and there's like beautiful resorts there too.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to choose one island to visit, recommend one place, where would you go?
Koh Phangan.
Go Phangan.
Without thinking, yes, absolutely,
Really?
yes.
And why?
It's a place that feels like home to me because my mom is there as well. So. We know the locals, which makes a difference. Like and also I think the island hasn't, it's not developed, but there's also like things to see, and you really feel like you're on holiday. You really feel like you're going on an adventure.
Oh man, I think I'm going to go there right now.
Yeah, you should.
I'm serious. I have a week, and I'm like, I'm going to go to an island. So I'm here with Jerry, and she is from Thailand, and we're talking about islands. So these islands in Thailand get a lot of tourists.
Yes, right.
Thailand probably gets more tourists to its islands than any other country in the world. How is there like any concerns about the environment or development on the islands?
Yes, of course. So wherever there are people, there's always an effect on the environment. And you see this a lot, especially on the most visited islands such as Phuket and Samui, with the development of condominiums, schools, malls, leads, deforestation, of course, and more pollution. You also see the effects more on like the more vulnerable islands, like the smaller islands, such as I think like Koh Phi or Koh Lanta. All of the islands used to be like full of trees and used to be like national parks, and now like with the people taking speedboats and everything, you really see the oils on the sea. The coral reefs are not as colorful as they should be. All the plastic that comes with getting food boxes, plastic straws, and you really see like the ecosystem in the sea are affected.
Yeah, that's really tough. That's a problem that we have to solve everywhere in the world, it seems like, especially the plastic. Do you know about Easter Island in Chile? With the big stone statues?
No, not so much.
Okay. I'll just hang on. I'll just lead in another way. Yeah, that reminds me of Easter Island, which is, famous in Chile for its really large stone monuments, like the stone faces. And they couldn't figure out how the people disappeared or why they disappeared, and now they think it's because they cut down all the trees.
Oh, wow.
And after they cut down all the trees, that basically destroyed the environment, and the people couldn't survive anymore, so they had to leave the island. So islands really are vulnerable, especially with their trees, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of the reasons I really like Gochang.
Yeah.
Because you can only develop on one side of the road.
Yeah.
So there's a road around the island, and if it's on the beach side, you can develop, but anything inland on the other side of the road, there's pretty much no development. Yeah.
Yes. But there are also, like, on the positive side, you see, when there are things like bad things like happening to environment. You see like innovation, people actually coming up with ideas. So a lot of hotel chains, for example, are becoming more sustainable. They're incorporating metal straws, paper straws. So you do see like some changes, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, eventually business can find a solution.
Yeah,
it's in their best
always,
interest, right? Oh, that's really nice. So what about the economy? So I guess the biggest jobs are the resorts?
Yes, so the Thai economy relies on tourists. The hotels, the restaurants. That's where we get our money flowing, I would say.
Right, so that's you get the capital influx from other countries.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you live in Bangkok. Out of curiosity, how often do you get to a resort or to the beach?
More than I should, to be honest. Like, I love the island, so every opportunity I get, I'll fly down south and then visit the different ones. But yeah, as I mentioned, my favorite one would be called Phangan. Yeah.
Can you fly directly from Bangkok to Koh Phangan?
Yes. Not directly, but you can fly to the mainland, which is Surat Thani. And it's actually nice just to spend a day there because Surat Thani, there's like a culture there, and then you get to try the authentic southern food before you actually go to the islands, and it becomes a little bit more like Western, with the taste and everything. So that's my recommendation. And then the next day you can just go to the pier and take a ferry to the different islands you want to go to.
Oh, wow. So I definitely want to take your advice.
Thank you.
Cool, that's really nice. Okay, so I'm here with Jerry, and we are in Bangkok, Thailand, and she's Thai. And I thought we would talk about the interesting transportation systems of Bangkok.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah, Bangkok has so many ways to get around. So the most common, of course, is the BTS,
right,
which is the over-rail train, right? And then there's the MRT. Okay, can you talk about them?
Yeah, so these two are the new forms of transportation in Thailand. Well, not so new. I think about 10 years now we've been having them. But they're probably the most common way to travel into the city. The SkyTrain station is now expanding quite fast, so it's going to like other parts that are outside of Bangkok for the outer cities. From people from the outer city to travel into the main business district areas. And the price range from 35 baht to like 100 baht, depending on how many stops you have to take. But it's becoming more and more popular, and so the rush hour it gets quite hectic. I think it can be regulated a little bit better, but I think they're working on that.
Yeah, I work in Tokyo and Bangkok both, and when I first came here, the trains were empty, the BTS, and now they're like Tokyo.
Yes.
They're on the same level of packedness.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Okay, so then how about the world famous Thai taxis and tuk-tuks?
Okay, yes, for sure. So I'll start with the tuk-tuks. The tuk-tuks are probably the most interesting way to get around town. You see them a lot in Bangkok because they attract tourists. So you can get them, they're usually, the thing to be careful is that there's not really a fixed price. So you can get a little bit scammed, yeah. But so I would recommend just asking the locals like how much would it cost like to get here to there, so you know like a little bit about the price range. But if you're here in Thailand for the first time, it's definitely the way to travel around. You get the wind in your face, and it's really nice. And then the taxi meters are also, there's more and more every day. It's like any other country, I guess. It's air conditioned, and then the meter starts from 35 Thai baht.
It's true. It is like any other country, but I would say they're very unique in their colors.
Oh,
so
right. Yes,
they have the very beautiful Technicolor that you only see in Thailand. Yeah.
So it goes from pink, green, bright yellow, and they're all very bright.
And orange,
so,
correct,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. They look so beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, going back to the tuk-tuks, one thing that's I think is interesting is obviously they're used for tourists, but also local Thais I see use them kind of to transport a lot of bags and stuff. So like if they need to move a bunch of stuff, like bags, or they need like I don't know, supplies for a restaurant or something like that, you'll see tuk-tuks moving things around.
Yes. And there's like different tuk-tuk sizes. So some of them are more for like transportation, as you mentioned. And then we have more of like the bigger, similar to tuk-tuks, they're called songtaos, which you see in like the small little streets in certain neighborhoods that people need to get to the main road.
Okay, now can you describe what a songtao looks like?
Yes, absolutely. It's like a truck, but with a big open area in the back for people to hold on to the rails. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you can imagine the picture, but in a tuk-tuk, hey, you get to sit. It fits about 3 people max. But songtao, the back, the open air area fits about 20 people.
Another famous thing about Bangkok is the motorcycle taxis, which really freak a lot of the tourists out.
I'm sure.
Like they're afraid to get on one. Can you explain the motorcycle taxis, which are incredibly common?
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's quite scary, but it's probably the fastest and most cost-effective way to get around Bangkok, especially during the rush hour. There's like a lot of motorbike taxis in Bangkok, and there are different stations, so you can get them at right below the SkyTrain station mostly. And yeah, they know the streets very well. They know the fastest routes to get to your destination. And once you get familiar with it, it's actually not too bad as long as you ask for a helmet. I always think that is, because it does get quite scary on the main roads with like a lot of...
women a lot of times sit in a very dangerous position, maybe because of their skirt. They'll sit sideways. They don't sit with both legs with one leg on each side of the motorcycle, which I always find incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Do you ever sit that way?
I have to admit, most of the time I sit that way, and it's quite like you don't realize it yourself, but when people see it, they're quite fascinated by it, like how we can balance ourselves, and then the motorbike is like swerving its way around.
Yeah, right, exactly. Another thing about maybe just explaining about the motorcycle taxis is, so Bangkok has really long streets. It's not a grid system. It's kind of like the roots of a tree. Like the roads will just go forever in one direction.
Yes.
So basically people take the main lines, like the subway or overhead train, to their stop, and then they take the motorcycle taxi to their home, correct?
Yes, correct. That's the most common way, to do it.
And in the mornings and in the evenings, it's amazing because it's like this fleet of motorcycle. Like the whole street is just humming with motorcycles.
And then you realize how popular they are when you're standing at the station and there's no motorbikes left because, they're all being... used.
So, like where you live, do you see the same motorcycle taxis every day?
Yes.
Do you know them by name?
Yes. So, like even the one in front of where I work, they're like familiar face. They know where I live, and they just take me home every day.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So, what about new things like Uber and Grab?
So it's causing quite a bit of tension in Bangkok, as expected. The motorcycle taxis and the normal taxis are not so happy about this. But yeah, I think with the election coming up, a lot of parties are trying to regulate it a little better, because currently the main problem is that the Ubers and the Grab drivers are not legal to have passengers. They don't have the license. So that's the main issue why the motorbike taxis and the normal taxi drivers are quite fed up about.
Wow. Well, one thing's for sure, it's very easy to get around this city.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm here with Jerry, and she's Thai, and we are in Bangkok, and we are going to talk about fashion. So, Jerry, Bangkok is a very, very fashion-conscious city.
Yes, absolutely.
Shopping is huge here. So let's talk about prices. So first, we'll talk about jeans. You are wearing jeans today. So how much are an expensive pair of jeans in Bangkok?
Well, that's funny that you asked, because the price range for clothes here is quite wide. So you can go from 200 baht, Thai baht, for a pair of jeans, up to 4,000 Thai baht for a pair of jeans in like one of the top brands. Wow.
And so just so people know, 200 baht would be, in U.S. dollars, that's about $6. And 4,000 baht would be about $130.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's quite a difference there. Yeah. But I would say that generally it will be in the range of 500 to 2,000 Thai baht.
Okay. 500 to 2,000. That's still pretty a wide gap.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So those are jeans. What about for women, a blouse?
A blouse, I would say, for like a nice quality one, like 500 Thai baht.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
$15
that's yeah.
about. Okay. What's the most you would pay for a blouse?
No more than 1,000 Thai baht.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's. What about the cheapest?
The cheapest, like 300 Thai baht. Like if you start going lower than 300 Thai baht, then you have to accept that you might get to wear it not more than 3 times.
Okay.
So that's the price you pay.
Nice. All right. So what about shoes?
Shoes, it also depends on where you go. So Chatuchak Market is known for affordable clothes. So the shoes there would be from 200 Thai baht to 500 Thai baht. But if you visit the more well-known stores in the department stores, then they can be from 500 Thai baht to 1,000 Thai baht.
Okay. That's interesting. So you mentioned Jatujak Market. Can you kind of talk about Jatujak Market?
Yes, so this is one of the main activities for tourists to do when they visit Bangkok. It's a weekend market, so it's only open on Saturdays and Sundays. It's quite crowded, but it's definitely something you should do. There's a lot of souvenir stores, a lot of local shops, and a place to shop for clothes. And it's not just for tourists. You also see a lot of Thais go there because all the stores there are reasonably priced, and they're quite trendy. They have like different styles, stores that you won't find anywhere else.
Right. Oh, yeah. I've been there a couple times. It's massive. It's really,
it's
really
massive.
big.
It takes about half a day to do the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's easy to get lost,
Minimum,
right? Like if you go inside, it's like you kind of don't know where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I guess is also the fun part of it. It's like an adventure in itself, right?
Right. Exactly. Okay. Cool. Okay. So, what about things like belts? Or, like accessories?
I would recommend going to Platinum Mall. This mall is located near Siam BTS station, and it's known for its accessories that are like reasonably priced. So at Platinum Mall, accessories can be from 100 Thai baht to not more than 1,000 Thai baht, but usually in the range of 100 to 500 Thai baht.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but there's a whole floor, like 2 floors that's dedicated to accessories. So you can find necklaces, sunglasses, rings, earrings, about 10 shops for each category, yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So Bangkok's quite interesting because it has so many different ways. You can buy things on the street.
Yes.
You can buy things at the markets. You can buy things at the nice air-conditioned malls.
Yes.
Yeah. What about online? Do you Thai shop online very much?
Yeah, online shops are becoming more and more popular now because it's quite convenient. You just get it delivered to you. There's a lot of more fashion brands that are online on Instagram, for example. Yeah, so it's becoming a thing.
Oh, cool. All right, thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome.